Hi everyone, Tina Killerin here. How is everybody today? So I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about energy balance and calories in versus calories out. Now we all wish it was just so easy that all we had to do was consider the amount of calories that we're taking in versus the amount of calories that we're expending on a daily basis for our exercise. And at the end of the day, we're at a negative calorie intake, so we're at a calorie deficit and we're losing weight. Unfortunately, it's not that easy. If it were that easy, wouldn't everybody be doing that? So there's a lot of things that come into play when we think about that energy balance, right? So when we're talking about energy balance, it means that we have an equal amount of calories coming in versus what we're spending during the day for our calories. Now, there's a lot of things that come into play when we talk about what we're actually spending on those calories, right? Those expenditures. Because it's not just what we do for exercise. We have a lot of breathing, movement, thinking, and digestion going on in our body that burns calories all day long. And we need to be able to take that into consideration when we're taking in those calories, because we need to make sure that we're fueling our bodies properly in order to do all the things that we need to do. When you're taking in too little calories, you might find sometimes that you're a bit lethargic or you've got some brain fog going on. That could be due to the fact that you have too low of a calorie deficit or too low of a negative energy balance. So what we're really trying to do is find that energy balance, so this way we're closer to equal on the negative and the positive, and taking a slight negative energy balance, right? Slight deficit there on those calories. Because when we go too low, right? I mean, think about it. How many of you guys have read, eat 1,200 calories a day? I have to tell you, I think 1,200 calories a day is really, really low for most people to be consuming on a regular basis. It's really hard to do that, especially if you live an active lifestyle. So there's a lot of things that we need to think about and we need to consider when we're trying to calculate what that is. We don't want too low of a calorie deficit. We don't want to take in too many calories, because then we'll go into metabolic decline, cognitive function kind of breaks away, our reproduction goes into whack. So we don't want all of those negative health effects coming into the play when we have too low of a calorie deficit. So it is a little bit of a trial and error here, unfortunately. So what we need to do is just kind of play with things a little bit to make sure that we're losing weight, not too rapidly, because when we lose weight too rapidly, again, that's probably because we're at too low of a calorie deficit and you're doing more harm to your body in the long term. And we definitely don't want that. But we don't want a positive energy balance either, because that's when we start to gain weight. And that's what we're trying to get away from, right? So I want you to kind of play with it a little bit. Here's a good starting point for you if you're just starting your health and fitness journey. If you've been living a somewhat sedentary lifestyle, you have a desk job, and you don't exercise regularly. So a good place to start for you would be to take your current weight. Now again, this is if you are living that sedentary lifestyle, okay? You really don't have any structured exercise program at all. Take your current weight, multiply that by 10, and multiply that number by 12 as well, right? So your current weight times 10, current weight times 12. That would be your calorie intake range for the day in order to lose weight. Now, it's not a hard and fast rule. I'm just giving you an idea of what a good starting point would be. So if you took that calorie range, here's what I want you to do. I want you to start tracking what you're eating. And as I mentioned yesterday, be honest with yourself on what you are actually eating. Make sure that those portion sizes are in line, so as you're tracking your food, you can actually get a good range of calories that you are taking in. And then take a look at it. At the end of 2 weeks or at the end of the month, take a look and see the amount of calories that you've taken in on a daily basis. Are you in that range, that 10 to 12 range, right? Your current weight times those things. And are you seeing the change in your body that you want to see? If not, then go ahead and adjust it accordingly. But again, don't cut it so low that you've got that severe calorie deficit going on, because we don't want all of those negative health things going on with our body, right? So again, it's a matter of playing with a little bit. Have patience. You're in this for the long haul. We're not in this to lose weight quickly and lose it overnight. We want to make sure, remember I talked about yesterday about making sure that your lifestyle and the way that you're eating with your good nutrition is sustainable for the long haul. So we need to make sure that it's sustainable. So don't go into that severe calorie deficit and have those whole host of other problems, right? So play with it a little bit, be patient with it, tweak it as you go along. Do me a favor, drop me a comment below. Let me know what you think about that. Do you think that doing that mathematical equation, taking your current weight times 10 and then times 12, does that seem realistic to you, or does that seem really, really high? I'd be curious to see what you think about that. So join me tomorrow as we talk a little bit more about those calories that we're taking in. We're going to talk more about the quality of the calories that you take in. A lot of people will tell you it's just about calories in versus calories out. It's really not, because we can definitely look at the quality of those calories that you're taking in, relate those to macronutrients and micronutrients to make sure that we're really eating nutrient-dense foods versus calorie-dense foods, right? So if I ate, let's just say, 1,000 calories of chocolate versus 1,000 calories of protein and carbohydrates, my body's going to function differently, and my body's going to react differently to those 1,000 calories that I've just taken in. So it is a lot to do with quality of the calories that you're taking in. So make sure that you join me tomorrow as we talk more about that. We talk about nutrient-dense foods versus calorie-dense foods, and I will see you all on the flip side. Thanks for joining me.